The Pacific Northwest is home to some of the most beautiful landscapes in the United States, and the hike to Lake 22 is no exception. My sister Jennifer has just finished up her mechanical engineering internship in the area, and soon it'll be time for her to head back to her home in Orlando. But first, I wanted to get one more adventure in with her. I want to take her somewhere special to show her the beauty of this area and the place that I now call my home. And I also want her to consider moving here, but don't tell her that. So to achieve all of these goals, we will be tackling a Seattle favorite, the hike to Lake 22. The schedule is tight, the hike is long, and adventure awaits. Let's go. So the next big questions are, how do you get here and when should you visit? The trailhead to Lake 22 is located roughly 60 miles northeast of Seattle and just a few miles inside the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest. And in order to park and hike here, you're going to need something called a Northwest Forest Pass. It's essentially a parking permit that allows you to visit, and at the time of this video, it costs about $30 annually. Because I run a YouTube channel based on traveling, life experiences, hobbies, it makes sense for me to get something called the America the Beautiful Interagency Pass for $80. With this pass, it means that I can enter any national park, national forest, or federal site for up to 1 year. So if I end up visiting more than 3 places, it's worth it for me to get. But if you're just visiting this one location and don't really go hiking too often, the Northwest Forest Pass will do just fine. Also, keep in mind that they will physically mail you a pass, and that takes time, so plan accordingly. Or you can get a printable day pass through their website. As for when you should visit, all of the research that I've done suggests that you should get there as early as possible. The reasons for this are parking fills up quickly, and you want to be able to do the entire hike before darkness falls. Speaking of which, because of scheduling reasons, my sister and I arrived at the trailhead at 4:52 p.m. and there are no other days that we can go before Jennifer leaves, so we're just gonna have to make this work. Sundown is at 8:10, it is 4:52, and we have a 5.4 mile hike ahead of us. Alright, we are on the hike for Lake 22. Let's go. As you start walking into the forest, there's an immediate sense of stillness to the air. The noise of the trailhead and the parking lot falls off pretty quickly, and you are left with nothing but the sounds of footsteps and the quiet rustling of leaves. The beginning of the hike is actually pretty easy. Everything is fairly flat, and the trail is mostly dirt. For me, the first thing that I noticed was how well maintained this trail is. Everything is defined and clean, and there are well-maintained bridges leading you deeper into the woods. However, things do pick up a bit with some fairly steep rocks and a small waterfall. But before too long, we were at our first landmark. It's a small bridge that crosses over 22 Creek, and on the left side of the bridge, you can see a small waterfall fills a shallow pool of water, and on the right, you'll find another waterfall and the rest of 22 Creek flowing down the mountain. It's a pretty scenic spot, so make sure to snag a couple of pics and take a water break while you're here. Obviously, any water bottle will do, but I particularly like my Embrava water bottles. The cap lock and single button press to open is super useful when you only have one hand, and the bottles are fairly narrow like a small water bottle, so they fit nicely in the side of my backpack while still holding a decent amount of water. Anywho, time was a-tickin', so we pressed on. There are some massive old-growth trees in the forest, and they just tower above you. Even after living here for a couple of years, I am still amazed at the size of the trees in this area. And this is also another great spot to grab some pictures and just hang out. After another short walk, we came across our second waterfall of the hike. The first waterfall was a baby one, so I guess this is the first real waterfall. There are some pretty nice views from the trail, and there's a small viewing area just off of it. However, the real prize is down a pretty steep 15-foot decline. I don't have any video of me climbing down because I would prefer not to slip and die, but it is entirely manageable with 2 hands because there's a fallen tree acting like a ladder on the way down. And once you're down there and actually have stable footing again, it's a pretty amazing sight. There's another decline further down the waterfall, but it looks extremely dangerous and I would avoid that one completely. Don't want to fall down that. Alright, that was a fun little detour, but now we gotta go back up. It is 5:40 and we've hit the second waterfall. I actually can't remember how far into the trail we are, but I think we're making good time. I think we should be able to make it to Lake 22 before it gets dark. And out of the forest before it gets dark. Okay, we have hit our next obstacle. The path is washed out, there's a huge steep incline in front of us, and there's a rope. Alright, Jennifer, do you want to go first or second?
I'm going first.
Up there. She going first.
I don't want you to follow me.
Okay. Okay, we made it up the rope thing. It actually wasn't that bad. A little steep, a little slippery, but overall not terrible. If you don't want your hands to get super muddy, I actually suggest don't grab the rope. Find something else, a stick to support your weight, and just climb up elsewhere, because then you're gonna need water to wash your hands. But luckily you packed water, because I mentioned in the beginning of this video, it's good to have water, and this is one of the many reasons why, aside from drinking it. Oh, one more thing. When you get up the rope thing, go to the right. That is the path to the lake. Don't go left, otherwise you're gonna be really disappointed. The hike then opens up to a clearing and a view of the mountain. This is the first time that you can see just how high you've climbed, and it is a gorgeous sight. It was a little misty for us, but you can still see the other mountains in the distance. That being said, the trail itself was pretty cool as well. There was a bunch of washed out and fallen trees with these cool burled patterns in them, and we found them all over the switchbacks that were carved into the side of the mountain. As you climb higher and higher, the view just gets better and better. Hey Jennifer, what do you think of the view?
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
It's a little foggy. It's a little pretty.
Near the top of the switchbacks is a large boulder, and this boulder makes for an amazing photo op. You know all of those old kung fu movies where the protagonist is standing on some mountain spinning a staff around? Yeah, I couldn't help myself. So after I got all of those shenanigans out of my system, we pressed forward and climbed higher and higher up the mountain. Oh, and side note, the path actually gets super rocky and there is barely any level or completely solid ground around. I have no idea how my sister did it with some basic sneakers, but I'm really thankful that I have my hiking boots. I highly recommend wearing something that has strong ankle support and is ideally waterproof. So I am not affiliated, but these are the Bridger Mid waterproof boots from Oboz, and I've been really happy with them. When you lace the boots up high, there's some pretty nice ankle support, and with all of the water that we encountered on the trail, I am super thankful that they are fully sealed up to your ankles. Otherwise, I would have been walking around with wet socks for most of the day, and no one likes that. Anywho, back to the hike. Okay, it is 6:30, and we are kind of at the end of the boulder field, and we are making our way over. It's gotten a little bit flatter. I think the lake is maybe a half mile from here, so we'll call it another 15 or so minutes, but I think we'll be able to get there before sundown. The next question is, can we get out of the forest before it gets dark? Probably not, but at least we'll get to the lake.
We'll figure it out later.
I am out of shape. I am not in the same physical condition that I was before the pandemic hit. Oh, my endurance, this is not good. I'm very excited to sit down and drink some water and snack. I am so hungry. This rocky slope here is the last landmark that you'll see before you get to the lake, and that means you're pretty much there. And no more than 30 seconds later, we turned the corner and we were at Lake 22. The beauty of the Crystal Lake can only be matched with the stillness of the water. Because we were so late to start our hike, we were actually the last ones up there, and when the group right before us left, it was absolutely quiet. The only sounds we could hear were our breathing and maybe our heartbeats. Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We have made it to the lake. I'm so excited. It is so pretty here. I think it is definitely worth the hike. Also, good thing we planned ahead and brought some snacks with us because we were both starving after the long hike. So we decided to grab some food and have a little fun with it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hey!
I got it! Alright, let's try one more.
Okay. 3, 2, 1,
go. Oh no! Wait. You think we can do 2? 3, 2, 1, go.
Hit me in the eye and I choked.
I got one.
Also, while you're here, make sure to get some nice pictures of yourself. The lake in the forest offers a pretty nice backdrop, and you should have something to remember your time here.
Okay, it is 7:23. We got a bunch of pictures and footage of this area, but we need to start making our way out because I don't want to be trapped in the forest at night where I can't see anything. So let's go. So usually the hike down is both easier and harder. It is easier in the sense that it is downhill and your quads aren't killing you as much trying to climb things, but it's also harder because now all of that weight goes onto your knees and your knees start to hurt from the impact of going downhill. Fun. So even though we're on a time crunch and we're trying to get out of the forest before it gets dark, we still have to stop and see some of these amazing views out here. You know, I wish I was in better shape and that my knees weren't so garbage because I can feel them starting to hurt with every step on the way down. So I really hope that my legs don't feel horrible tomorrow, but we're gonna find out.
They did.
All right, it is 8:05 and we're back into the tree canopy. It is really dark here. You probably can't tell because the camera's gonna adjust the lighting and make things seem brighter than they usually are, but it's pretty dark. So we made it past the hard part, which was climbing up that rope by that tree, so we're past that, so it should be a little bit easier on the way down, but let's go. Alrighty, it is 8:15, it is pretty dark outside, and we're near the second waterfall, so we're making our way back. I actually think we might get stuck here when it's pitch black, but we have some flashlights, we planned ahead, and overall the hard part of the hike is behind us, so I'm feeling pretty good about this.
I don't know about you, but it can be absolutely terrifying when you're in the woods at night. There's an eerie feeling to the pitch blackness of the wilderness and a feeling of vulnerability from being outdoors. It started to feel like one of those found footage horror movies really quick, and I was not a fan.
Well, you can't see me, but I'm here. It is incredibly dark, and we are almost out, so... And Jennifer has illuminated my face with the phone, and it probably looks terrifying. We're making our way down the mountain. It is pitch black, and we did not make it. The time is 8:56, and we have finally made it back to the car. We were able to get to Lake 22 and still have enough sunlight to go and see cool stuff at the lake. We were not able to get back to the car before darkness fell. So we're back. My feet hurt, my knees hurt. I want to soak in a hot tub for a long time until I'm not sore anymore. Let's go on home.
But first, fries.
Fries!
We stopped at McDonald's on the way back because we were super hungry and a greasy burger with fries sounded amazing. So what do I think about this whole adventure? Now that I've gone on this hike and seen all that it has to offer, would I go on this adventure again? The answer is a resounding yes. The scenic views of the mountains from the Switchbacks are gorgeous. The old-growth rainforest and its massive trees are awe-inspiring, and Lake 22 is a gorgeous lake with its beautiful blues and rocky backdrop. Our total hike time came to about 4 hours round trip. We did stop at a couple of scenic views along the way, but we also booked it out of the woods on the way back, so your time may vary. I would plan for about a 5-hour hike and just be pleasantly surprised if you do it in less. Overall, I think this is a pretty straightforward hike that's not terribly difficult if you pace yourself correctly.
I'm out of shape. My endurance, this is not good.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't pace yourself correctly. So there you have it. If you got value out of this video, please subscribe for more content like this and go and check out some of my other adventures and see if you can find something new to try. If you're curious about any of the equipment that I used in this video, they can be found in the description box down below. But for now, good luck, have fun, peace.